It is day 76 of 365 days of remembering, and I thought it would be poignant to just say the date today is March 16th, 2020, and lots of stuff going on. So if you don't know what that is, then I guess you could look it up if you want, or don't. And here I am, and look at behind me, it snowed. I live in Northern California, and it snowed, and I was walking through the forest in the snow, looked at the snow when I woke up this morning, and with everything that's going on, the snow didn't surprise me. It's like the weather's like, I know how to do semi-chaos, so here you go. Anyway, no, in actual fact, as I was walking, and right now I'm experiencing the snow falling off the trees, which is so cool. And look over there behind me was this interesting thought that occurred to me as I was walking, which was this white blanket, which often for a lot of us reminds us of like a feeling of purity or a feeling of something pristine and a cleansing sort of feeling. And I was thinking about how this call to be home, because my kids are not at school today and they're home, and to be more inward, like literally in our homes, again, as I said in yesterday's video, is the call to come home to ourselves. But now even more, maybe it's a call to a reset. Maybe it's a call to go back to basics in terms of if we want to be spiritually conscious beings, how do we make that part of our physicality experience too? And so when I'm thinking about this is, with all this stuff that's going on, how do we be more conscious about the choices we're making, the food we buy, how we use things, how we experience the world within ourselves, within our homes, because the world we create in our homes is really impactful, because environment is really powerful. And so if we immediately reach for distractions, there's nothing wrong with it, like watching movies or going on Netflix or, consumption-based stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just good to notice so that we can take this as an opportunity to really, I got snowed on, cool, to really see what we're doing and how we're holding ourselves and what life is looking like, so we can amplify our awareness and amplify our consciousness. And I know I'm feeling pulled to this with my children, to just have more conversations around like how we're going to manage the resources we have as a family, not in a scarcity, lackful, worried way, but just in a practical way. And it's a good life skill to have. And also, how are we going to manage our time? Like, we often complain lately as a collective, as beings, that we don't have enough time. And here we've been gifted a large amount of time. And, this time could be spent in epic ways, like learning something new or picking up an old hobby or fine-tuning a skill set that we have. Or I know for me, working on a business, it just feels like a lot of abundance around, I don't have to drive kids to school anymore. I don't have the same fixed schedule, so I can sort of dive into things. Now, that said, I have them and their schedules and how we're going to work all that out. But what a beautiful call to more presence and to more communication and to more authenticity amongst all of us, to talk about like, what is it that we really desire? What is it we need? And how can we all flow in this space, this container of our home that feels good to all of us? And what are we going to do in terms of our own inner work, our own inner connections, to help that amplify and be a really great experience for all of us? And then there's also that other level of what would it mean to have a personal reset. And I was thinking about that idea of we're going back to basics in some ways in the physical world. So why not go back to basics in terms of my spirituality, in terms of being a spiritually conscious being? Like, spend some time just being more deliberate, spend some more quiet time with myself, spend some time sort of practicing meditation as if it's a new thing, as if I've just started this practice today, and practice presence with my family, with my children, really dive into the things that excite me, that I'm feeling my call to, and that I'm feeling passionate, and then be able to put it aside and dive into being in full presence with them and do some fun things and get the giggles going, because giggling is definitely one of the things that's going to get us all into a great place. Go outside and walk around in the park and enjoy the snow or the trees or the sunshine or whatever it is that is there, because you have that space. And I've been hearing stories from around the world of, like, especially in China, but other places where it's so quiet that they're starting to notice sounds they never noticed before. And isn't that interesting? Yet again, a call to sort of what's right in front of ourselves, what is here to be celebrated in this incredible, another tree dropped in snow, incredible space that we are occupying, this illusion that we've all created, and to just really have deep appreciation of it and our own And all of these things will help to just ground us in our clarity, ground us in our knowing, ground us in our trust and our faith that we're good, that everything is always working out, and that the essence of who I really am, the energetic aspect of myself, is untouchable, is indestructible, is infinite. We'll get more snow falling in every single way. This is a great call, a great invitation to spend more time in that space, because that is ultimately where your power lives. When you tune into that aspect of yourself that is infinite, that is indestructible, that knows its worthiness, that knows its safetyness, that knows that everything is working out, like knows it, then it flows and can then share that with your character, with your person, which will amplify your experience so that you're one-pointed in your attraction. You're one-pointed in offering the best you have to offer to this creation. And I wanted to share this one interesting little thing that I've been thinking about. Take it or leave it. I don't know. It's just a fun little idea. So I like often to look around and imagine that every other person, every other being outside of myself is in essence representative of an aspect of me. I know Swami Kriyananda of the Ananda Path called it the mental citizens that make up our mind. And it's so cool. Like everything we see in the illusion is literally our consciousness manifested in front of us so that we can see what we're here, what we're being called to navigate, what we're being called to shine a light on, to focus on more, to shift, to clean up, whatever. So if you look at it that way and you see everyone else around you as an aspect of your own consciousness waking up. So we're each an individuated expression of this larger consciousness, and we're on our own individual journey as each aspect waking up. But then as a whole, we're also on this bigger vision journey of the whole collective waking up. And it doesn't take a lot to say, there is lots of epic things happening. I mean, there's been amazing shifts in my lifetime that you can literally walk into a bookstore and see an entire section devoted to self-help, see an entire section devoted to spirituality. I mean, if you want to do a course on something spiritual, you'll have no problem finding it online. So there definitely is a change. There's been a shift. There's been a movement. Statistically wise, I'm not sure how much it is. I wish it was 50-50. I'm not sure it is. So I was thinking of like 70-30, and I was thinking that was being liberal. But let's say that 30% of the population has begun the spiritual journey and is awakening within themselves. And 70% is still kind of bouncing around with stuff, but they're not quite there yet. So what if this whole thing, all these events that are happening in the world, are simply a call for us who is in the 30% of those that are awakening to hold the space for the other 70% of ourselves, or of this whole consciousness that we are all one with, to also have that awakening. And much like what we know about how things come to us, when something's not working, when you don't acknowledge it and you don't shift it and you don't do the growth work, the expansion work you need to do, it just gets bigger because you're creating from that place of what you don't want. And so that's sort of what's being evidenced around the world in front of us. And maybe the call right now is, it's going to be so much that you just can't stop distracting yourself away from it. You can't stop ignoring it. This could essentially be the thing that takes the collective to its knees, which is not a bad thing. And so how do we, as the other 30% that are thinking, well, geez, I've already kind of done this. Why am I getting pulled around? Because we're all in this together. And so we're going to be the holders of the space to allow that to happen for those others that are basically begging and pleading us to help them awaken, to help them know who they really are, because the yearning is so strong. And I've heard so many different entities, beings, teachers speak of this idea that it doesn't feel good when you have strong desire that isn't allowed to be met. When you have strong desire that can't be realized, it feels constrictive. It feels like offness. It doesn't feel good. I think Abraham Hicks is one of the key ones that I know that said that. And what's interesting is it almost feels like that's what's happening in the collective. There's so much desire. There's so much pushing to like know who you are, this yearning to have this deep inner unconditional feeling of love, to know that you're bliss, to know that you're joy, to find the sustainability in the unsustainability, which is that if you look outside, you can't find it there because it's something that is in you, in your field, in your beingness, in you as the energetic you. And so this could just be that call. And what a beautiful call to unconditionality for all of us to deepen in that. And if we're going to be the holders of this space for others, we really need to deepen. We really need to be working on that ourselves so we can clean it up and stay in our own centeredness and our own alignment and our own serene calmness so that we can offer that to others, so we can be the light that shines up and says, you know, it's okay that stuff over there looks chaotic, because what's really important is what you got going on in here. Ah! The universe was like, yes! And I dropped snow on my head in agreement to that, clapping. That's how the universe claps sometimes. Oh, that's so fun. So that's my little rant to realization, whatever you want to call it, for the day. It is the flow that came through me. And I do think that it is wonderful to see this as a beautiful opportunity, and also to just celebrate, you know, celebrate where you stand, celebrate that you're in that 30%, and don't let this thing be an excuse to not be in that, to say, you know what, I take ownership of it. I know how to get in alignment. I know how to be in tune with myself. I know how to tune into the aspect of me that's unchanging, infinite, epic creator. So that's what I'm going to choose to focus on. That's what I'm going to be under the influence of. That's what I'm going to take my cues from. Doesn't matter how you say it. It all ends up being the same thing. That's where I choose to live in the midst of all of this. And then I can stand, and it doesn't mean I have to stand physically, because we're doing this thing where we're all sort of staying in our own homes, but you can still online, with your family on the phone, vibrationally, energetically, just in your own beingness, be the change that you want to see. Be the one that holds to it and doesn't use any of the things going on outside of you as an excuse to feel bad. Be more present with those you love. Be more present with yourself. Be cautious and notice what you're posting on Facebook. When you go out in the world and you have to navigate around this, be thoughtful about that. Be smiley and happy, and show that, you know, there is a different way. We don't have to let the fear take us, because whatever we choose to focus on is what's going to get bigger in your own experience. And the cool thing is we can all have a different experience. There's not one experience going on here. It's really an invitation to choose your experience, to own that you're the creator and choose. I might not be able to change the very thing that's going on, but I can certainly change my experience of it. Clearly, I can change my reaction to it, clearly. And actually, my reaction to it is what's going to define my experience with it, whether we like it or not. And to be able to stand in that clarity and stand in that certainty that I understand that I create my reality. I understand it no matter what. Even when there's something around me that doesn't feel like it's what I created and doesn't feel like it's what I want, I know that by focusing and pushing, that's not going to give me the relief that I'm seeking. But by standing in my epicness, that's the best way to go. Find the joy anyway, be the joy anyway, and see this as a gift. This was a gift of grace that we've all been given, to tune in and to remind ourselves that people are more important than things, that expansion is more important than consumption, that creation is why we're here. Take this time to be creative in whatever way that looks for you. Imagine that you've been given this epic opportunity right now to share in some form, some way, whether you just put it in a journal, do a bunch of videos like I've been doing, post it all over social media, talk to everybody you know, however you wanted to do it. Make a vision board, or wouldn't be a vision board, but do it with pictures, like whatever, do it with art, some way that you want to express what you've come to know on this journey in a way that it is sustainable, that generations after you can find it. Just do it for the fun of it. Do it because the opportunity has come, and because you just want to, and it will help you to dive more deeply into your own clarity about who you are and your own vibrational attunement and alignment, by putting it out, by practicing it, creating it. It'll be so much fun. I just know it. So I invite you to do something like that. If you like this video and you like journeying with me out into the snow and playing in nature and feeling encouraged to come back home to yourself, because it's the only true home there ever is, then please subscribe to my channel. Keep watching my videos. Like it if you like it. Click the bell if you really want to know when the flow comes, because it's a little unpredictable. But the great thing is that it's always there. It's just always there. It's just one breath away and you're right there. So I invite you to remember all of that or none of it, whatever works for you. And if you want to drop into the comments and tell me what you're doing and how you're seeing this as an opportunity, an invitation, and a reset point, that'd be great. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.